Fox X2 shocks, the best in the business. Well, at least they're shocks. Who knows if they're the best, but they work out pretty well. Anyway, welcome back to Tech Voodoo. Today, I'm gonna go ahead and show you the Weller intake brackets, or the throttle body brackets, I should say. Now, there are quite a few of different throttle body brackets out there. You can get one from Hess, you can get one from Dirt Launch, you can get one from Weller. Off the top of my head, that's all I can think of. But anywho, I went ahead and went with Weller because I like the way their brackets are. Brackets are nice and beefy, and they're stout, and they don't really get in the way of anything. They're small and easy to install, and you don't have to take off much to get them in. So I went ahead and got both lower and upper throttle body brackets. This is the lower right here. Let's see if I can set this somewhere so you guys can see. Are you gonna stay? Maybe. Okay, here is the lower bracket. To put the bracket on, all you have to do is remove two of the front bolts, because it's the front of the engine, two of the front bolts that hold the oil cooler on. So remove these two bolts, remove them completely. And then you're gonna come up here, and there is a bolt. Let's see here, the light's shining a little too much on there. Okay, there's a bolt right here that holds this front throttle body to the center throttle body. And this bolt doesn't go all the way through, but it's a factory bolt that ties these two together. Mine was a little hard to get out, so I went ahead and sprayed some PB Blaster down inside the hole and was able to get it out. Now it's kind of a pain because there's not too much room here, but it is doable. I went ahead and used a ratcheting wrench to get mine out. I did try a ratchet and a socket, but it didn't work out the greatest, so I went ahead and used a ratcheting wrench after breaking it loose with a regular wrench. Never use a ratcheting wrench to break something loose or to over tighten it or to tighten it. Just an FYI, ratcheting wrenches are for quickness. They're there to take the bolt out and there to put the bolt in. They're not to torque them, and they're not to break them loose. You end up breaking your ratcheting wrench. I don't care what company you go with, Gear Wrench, Snap-on, Mac, Matco, Craftsman, Cobalt, it doesn't matter. They're all gonna break. Tiny little teeth in there. Just an FYI. Anywho, after you take that bolt out, this bracket here, you're gonna kind of weasel it in past this coolant line right here. Is that the coolant line? Yeah, this is the coolant line. Okay, so you're gonna go ahead and weasel. Wait a second. Yeah, that's the coolant line. All right, you're gonna go ahead and weasel this bracket in underneath this coolant line. So you're gonna take the bracket sitting like this, you're gonna flip it down, you're gonna bring it up, and then flip it over. This hose is gonna sit, like I said, Weller does a fine job at doing things just right. Okay, you see how that hose, the bracket is got a cut in it so the hose stays in its factory position? That's awesome. Quality is in the detail, and this is detailed. It's quality. Anywho, you're gonna go ahead and feed this bracket up here. Once you get this bracket fed up here, you're gonna go ahead and take the two bolts that you took out of the front of the oil cooler. You're gonna go ahead and get them started. I thread them in quite a bit, just don't tighten them yet. Go ahead and get them started so you've got room to move the bracket around. Now, you're gonna go ahead and take the supplied bolt, which is longer, and you're gonna thread it all the way through this bracket. And then it's gonna protrude out the backside here, and you're gonna go ahead and have a nut. It's a nylon nut, so it's a lock nut. And what I found helpful was getting these two right here started. this is off just a little bit. So what I did is I actually grabbed, so I loosened the hat up. I didn't take the bolt all the way out, but I loosened this bolt up, and I actually grabbed this and pulled it down. So here, I grabbed it right here. So look right there, it's got a little area to where you can put your hand. But I went ahead and grabbed it right here and pulled it down, and then my other hand, I went ahead and maneuvered the bracket so it'd fit over the bolt. Put the nut on, I tightened the nut. No, wait, I'm sorry. Go ahead and put the bolt on, the nut on loosely. I went ahead and tightened these two bolts here that hold on the oil cooler. Went ahead and tightened them down to spec, and then I tightened down that bracket. That sandwiches the throttle body boots to the throttle body, so the vibration throttle body doesn't pop off. It's happened more often than not, so it's become a problem, and obviously there's a lot of companies out there with a fix. So if you don't like Weller, you can go with Dirt Launch. If you don't like Dirt Launch, you can go with Hess. If you don't like Hess, you can go with another company. Like I said, there's quite a bit of companies that make these brackets. I just can't name them all. Anyway, so this is the lower intake or lower throttle body brace or bracket. Very well machined, does its job. I haven't had any issues from the throttle body at all. And I also installed the upper. Now, the upper, well, that takes a little bit to install. So what you're gonna do here, all right, perfect. The old smog lever works out perfect for a flashlight holder. Anyway, so what you're gonna do here is you're gonna go ahead, and what I did was I went ahead and removed so I removed all the coil pack leads. I mean, you don't need to, but I went ahead and removed them all, pulled the coils, checked the spark plugs, went ahead and changed the spark plugs out, but left all the coils out. These two bolts here are what hold the coil in on the inside, so I think, yeah, those you'll reuse. Okay, so went ahead and pulled these out, and then from there I didn't mess with this hose here. Okay, but what I did do was you have to pull this vacuum hose off of this sensor right here. You don't have to worry about the vacuum hose back here. See if I can get the camera in close enough. Okay, you see that vacuum hose right there? You don't have to worry about removing that, but you do have to remove this vacuum hose here. And then behind here, see if I can get a better light so you guys can see. Sorry about the noise. Okay. So, behind here, you will see that Phillips, yep, you can see that brand new Phillips right there, okay? That Phillips is new, the old one is shorter, but that Phillips holds these sensors, the vacuum sensors on. You'll go ahead and you'll pull that out, and then there's one back here as well, which you can't see. Anyway, so I went ahead and unplugged this sensor here and unplugged this sensor here. I unplugged it, got the wires out of the way. This wire, this coil pack wire here, unplug it, get it out of the way. It's a lot easier. Now once you get this bolt here, which is directly behind this sensor that you have to pull the hose off of, and then you've got one right here which is directly behind this other sensor here that you don't have to pull the vacuum line off of. Take those two out, this bracket becomes loose. You take your Weller brace and you're gonna feed it in. You're gonna go down first and then come up. You're gonna come behind these two sensors here underneath this vacuum hose here that goes to the valve cover, and then you're going to take the hose and you're going to go through the bracket and connect it back to the sensor. After that, don't mess with these yet. Don't even worry about them. After that, you're going to go ahead and take your new Phillips and you're going to get them started in here. And you're going to tighten them. Tighten those up front right away. Get those tight and out of the way. Torque them down. It doesn't take very much torque. Like I said, this is aluminum here, so not everybody needs to be Hulk here. But tighten these guys down. You're done. Plug in your sensors up here so you don't forget. Now, moving on to the coil packs. Now, one of them, as you can see, I broke the inner tab, so I got 2 zip ties holding the wire harness on the coil, but I went ahead and did it on all of them. I highly recommend doing that because this engine sees a lot of vibration and everything, and like I said, those are just little plastic tabs there. They break off easy, and just these zip ties are, added security, knowing that your harness is tight against your coil pack. Anywho, with this bracket tight, you can still get your coil packs out. So if you have to change spark plugs, you just pull these bolts out, no issue. Anywho, go ahead and install your coils, and then you are going to see if I can find another area for the light. There we go. Okay, once you get your coil packs installed, go ahead and get this bolt here started and loose, this bolt here started and loose. You can tighten up this coil pack. This coil pack's got nothing to do with it. I just pulled them all out because I was changing the spark plugs and checking my tune. So you're gonna go ahead and get these 2 bolts started. Now when I say you're gonna get them started, this is where it gets hard. What I did was on the front here, you can see it's an opening right here where my finger is. What I did was I actually took a ratchet strap, a small ratchet strap, and I hooked it in here, and then I brought it out here. Now you got to pull it down. So I brought the ratchet strap down here and connected it to my sway bar link, and I ratcheted on it, pulling the throttle body boots, smashing them in. So I ratcheted that in, and then I got both of these bolts started, and I actually tightened them down before I even released the ratchet. My best advice for you, grab a ratchet strap, get the strap hooked in here, and then pull it down to your sway bar so it pulls downward. Get these bolts tight. Don't undo the ratchet strap yet. Get these bolts tight. After they're tight and torqued to spec, then you can undo the ratchet strap. Now, it's rubber. Connecting the throttle bodies to the intake, or connecting the throttle bodies to the cylinder head, is just a rubber boot. So you have to kind of smash that rubber boot in order to get these brackets on. Now, the engine warms up, heats up, cools down, heats up, cools down. Those rubber boots are going to form towards the shape that now this set is set in. So you don't have to worry about, when you take this off, this bracket right here shouldn't move very much. If it does, take a ratchet strap. Here, sway bar, tighten it down a little bit, throw your bolts in. Simple, easy. But these brackets here are going to be a lifesaver. They are definitely going to prevent the throttle bodies from coming off of the engine. Highly recommend it. I really like the way the Weller setup is set up, because it's not a flat piece of bracket or anything like that. It looks clean, it looks factory. I highly recommend this for anybody that's seriously riding or driving their YXZ hard. These throttle bodies, they pop off, spray fluid or fuel all over your engine, Some could spit up towards the exhaust, catch on fire, and you just lost your machine. But me personally, I like the Weller kit. But that's my personal opinion. Everybody's got their personal opinions. Everybody's got the companies that they like. Me, this whole machine is a hodgepodge of a bunch of different stuff. I've got Hess, Alba, Weller, Dirt Launch. You name it, I got them all. I got all the companies on here. But anywho, it's whatever company I felt had the best product at the time. But anywho, putting these brackets on is a lifesaver. When I say it's a lifesaver, I don't mean it's just the machine saver. But if something like this were to happen and you couldn't get out of your machine fast enough, you're in a world of hurt if this thing catches on fire. This is a problem that the YXZ has, and these are the fixes. Get throttle body brackets. Couldn't stress it enough. These throttle bodies like to come loose. Those boots aren't the greatest boots in the world. Save yourself a little bit of time, spend a little bit of money, grab these brackets. Anywho, if you liked what you saw, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos of me talking about installation and everything else on not only the YXZ, but everything else, go ahead and subscribe. You guys have a good day.